Hello, happy Thursday. A quick book review for you today. Today I want to talk about In the Unlikely Event by Judy Blume. This book was first published by Picador in the UK in June of this year, so it's pretty new. This is a lovely hardback edition. You definitely can't tell, but the letters here are kind of textured. Beautiful cover showing sort of suburban middle America rooftops and a beautiful blue sky with a little airplane, and the back simply says, "We'll always be connected by that winter. Anyone who tells you different is lying." So Judy Blume is possibly the most famous American teenagers author, and this is her first ever adult book. It's set in Elizabeth in New Jersey in the 50s, which is actually where Judy Blume grew up, and the main character, though we'll talk more about characters in a second, the main character is a 15-year-old girl, and Judy Blume would have been about that age when the events that are fictionalized in this book actually happen. So In the Unlikely Event is a very, very clever title if you've ever been on an airplane and listened to the little safety talk, because this book is about plane crashes, and plane crashes actually did happen in Elizabeth in 1952. The 1950s setting is very charming and also very well executed. Like, it's not just references to places or cars or people or pop culture, but it's like little details, like little household items and little items of clothing and things like that. It paints a very vivid picture of 1950s America. In terms of characters, there are a lot. This is a third-person omniscient narrator type book. There are 3 parts, and within those there are multiple chapters, and within those multiple chapters there are different characters who are focused on. To be honest, it pretty immediately reminded me of The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling, with the sheer number of characters you have to jump from one to one. And it's actually quite interesting because The Casual Vacancy was J.K. Rowling's first adult book, and this is Judy Blume's first adult book, and they have a similar sort of structure. Mary Ammerman is the first one that you're introduced to, and the story always comes back to her. Some of the characters are only in it for like a few pages. It's a very sort of fleeting glance at them, but all of the characters are eventually connected somehow. Well, connected by the plane crashes, as the back cover will tell you. But Mary is 15 years old. She lives in a Jewish family. She has a mum and a grandmother and an uncle. Her uncle is called Henry, and he's a writer for the Elizabeth Daily Post. So every chapter opens with a little section taken from the newspaper, and it's dated, and sometimes it covers the very tragic news of the plane crash, but sometimes it's just like a little snippet about a celebrity who's in town or that type of thing. So it further helps to kind of ground the novel in a time and a place, and it also places great importance on newspapers, because obviously this book has just been released. It's set in the 50s, but it really makes you appreciate how news travelled and how information was spread before everyone could afford a television, that kind of thing. The plane crashes, of course, are a very big part of this book, but its main themes are more about family and friendship and love. Mary is discovering love for the first time. She has teenage friendships that are changing, and there are characters who are a little bit older than she is, and they're facing issues like marriage, getting married young, pregnancy. Contraceptives were a pretty hard thing for women, young women, to come by in the 50s, and so those things are all dealt with, as well as like teenage boys and what goes through their minds, and it just feels very near, for want of a better word. You feel very close to these characters, and you're inside their heads, and you understand the anxieties that go through their head. And then there's also this absolutely huge tragedy that doesn't just happen once in their city. That's where the plane crashes, and they're kind of left to deal with the aftermath of that and how it affects families and how it affects relationships. And I think tragedy is such a great subject matter because it's not the main subject. It's not what this book is really about, and it kind of reminds me of, I live in Northern Ireland and we've had a lot of bombs here even in recent years, and it also reminded me of like the underground bombings in London many years ago, and how the next day everybody's at the train station, everybody's ready to go to work, everybody is just moving on with their lives, even though they've been changed a little bit, and their city has been changed, and their families, friends, they've been changed by this tragic event, and yet life just keeps going. And Mary, the main character, kind of struggles with that. She struggles with how quickly people change and kind of forget about the plane crash and the victims of it. It's a lovely look at real life, and I like that although this is definitely a book for grown-ups, I like that the focus is on a teenager, because teenage perspectives are always interesting one, and obviously Judy Blume was an adolescent when these things really happen. So it's a testament and sort of a memoriam to something that did happen, but it's also a story, and I really love what she did with the story and the fictional people that she created, and I felt very close to them. It is quite a long book, let me tell you exactly how long. Just under 400 pages. Also, it's very funny, very tragic subject matter, but Judy Blume is a very funny writer, and it has just some really golden moments and paints some wonderful caricatures of some very interesting characters. So I would thoroughly recommend this. I did mention The Casual Vacancy before. I was not very fond of that book. It just kind of jumped around a bit too much for me in terms of characters. This book is full of characters, but I really like the structure. I think it really worked. I love the newspaper sections, and it jumps back and forth in time. The beginning and the end take you kind of more to a present day. I would thoroughly recommend this. Well done, Judy Blume, for spending many years writing this beautiful book and for fictionalizing a part of your own personal history. I think it's very lovely, and I hope you like it. If you choose to read it, let me know. That's all I have to say. There'll be a link to the book in the description if you want to find out more or purchase a copy for yourself. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to Picador for sending me that beautiful hardback, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.